go.
So, Klaus, when we ask our students to start a project and to work using effectuation, it's not like people being entrepreneurial in real life, because they would use some of those, the process of effectuation to go out and do what they want to do. But we are teaching students, so we actually have to structure what they do over a process of 7 weeks or 10 weeks or however many weeks we've got. So therefore we need to have some kind of structure for our teaching.
And this is a structure, right?
So this is what I'm basing the structure on for getting them to be effectual. I'm taking this these ideas from a book on design called Designing for Growth. And this is kind of the model that I use, which I place over effectuation.
Okay.
So where we would start out here with the students, and we start asking them about the bird in hand, about who they are, about their resources. So they're finding out basically what is already there, who they are and what they've got as resources. And they do that individually, and then they do that as a group. So they actually pool their resources and say, okay, so who are we as a group, and what is it we can do together? So when that kind of phase, and we decide how long this phase takes, when that phase is over, then they have this idea of where they want to explore. And then we come into this amazing period where energy just increases and they get so excited about all the possibilities that they have. This is the phase I call, or they call, what if.
So what is, and then what if?
That's right. And what if is looking at potential, looking at possibilities, looking at opportunities. Anything is possible. We're not stopping them here. So energy levels are high, and they see the world as basically their oyster. They can do what they want to do.
Okay.
At the end of this phase, and again we decide how many weeks this takes and how many times we meet with them in this phase.
Okay.
At the end of this phase, we're asking them, okay, when you've explored and experimented and asked your potential users, whether they're children or young people or whether they're youths in unemployment or whatever, when you've explored all those possibilities, you have to decide on a few of these that you want to test out. And that brings you into the next phase, where you start engaging with your users, engaging with your resources, engaging with the materials you're going to use to find out what wows.
Okay.
So you engage, you take your materials, you take your users, and you do some real experimenting. And again, this phase maybe is not so full of energy, but there's still a lot of energy in there. At the end of that phase, again, we decide how many weeks that takes. They have to decide what they're going to try out to find out what works. And that's when they actually engage and bring the process a bit further and invest more energy and more time, and if they had money, more money in what works. Bringing in the potential stakeholders, bringing in commitment from other people. That is something that is really, really evident in this final phase here of what works. Because that's when maybe the lemons start happening. Maybe there's lemonade here. But this is one of the stages where, the final stage, where they find out what actually is going to work in all their ideas.